90% of the reviews on your vitamin C are perfect 5-star reviews. And this is the Vitamin C500 Complex. You're getting 500 milligrams of vitamin C here, and you're choosing the 60, 80, 360, or 720 capsules. What is it, Andrew, about your vitamin C that makes it so different from the others out there?
Which, by the way, that 90% of the reviews, I think that applies to almost every product I make. I think almost every product, I think the minimum is 80% or 5 stars and up over 90%, and typical is 95% are positive reviews. Wow. 3, 4, 5-star reviews or just 4 and 5 stars. So, but our vitamin C, first of all, it's the proper level. You don't want to take more than 500 milligrams of vitamin C at one time. All those drinks that are 1,000 milligram vitamin C drinks, you're wasting your money. You're risking stomach irritation because a lot of them contain ascorbic acid, which could be irritating to your stomach. It's an acid, and a lot of us struggle with GERD. Plus, they're carbonated, so if we have GERD or other issues, it's the last thing you want to be consuming. So if you're going to take additional vitamin C, 500 milligrams is really, if you're going to take a high dose, 500 milligrams is really the maximum significant dose. You take more than that, you're not absorbing it well, and you risk all sorts of problems. So, of course, our capsule is 500 milligrams. It contains no ascorbic acid, only fully reacted mineral ascorbates, so it will never upset your stomach. It's the same pH as water. It's pH neutral. Wow. So it will never cause the typical problems of vitamin C products. And I think that's, again, why it's perfectly reviewed, because it's a great source of vitamin C, but it isn't a source of problems. And every product I make, it's always a twofold analysis. It's one thing to follow Mother Nature's blueprint and follow the science and make a great product, but you also have to make sure you don't cause issues or problems. And that's, with each and every product, that's the most difficult task of all, is to not make something that works, but make something that works without causing issues or problems for the people who are using it.
Right, and what a great point you bring up, because taking it's important, but properly absorbing it probably more so than taking a ton of it at a time and it not being as effective as it could be. So great advice.
Those vitamin C drinks, either mix it up and split it in half. Hopefully it retains its potency, or just open the packet, empty half of it out, because you only want to be taking 500 milligrams at a time of vitamin C. Again, the more you introduce in your body at one time, your body knows what to do. It figures, we got an abundance of vitamin C coming in, we don't have to absorb it efficiently. So once you get past 500 milligrams, that's what happens. Also, as you improve your vitamin C status, again, your body's intelligent. It figures, our vitamin C status is pretty good. We don't need to absorb that which you deliver that efficiently now. So again, as we deliver more vitamin C, we don't need to deliver as much vitamin C. So I'm not someone who says people should be taking 10,000 or 20,000, which is 10 or 20 grams a day of vitamin C. Unless your doctor specifically recommends it, that's not something we need to be doing.
Well, so in addition to having the right amount, being non-acidic, not hurting our stomachs, I noticed too with your vitamin C, you have the plus citrus bioflavonoids. So how important is that, and what does that do for us?
Well, we just do that. I think the most important thing that people are seeking when they get their vitamin C is the vitamin C. And you want to make sure the vitamin C is in its proper form, and that's going to be the basis of what someone is buying, purchasing, what they want. And the citrus bioflavonoids, they're just naturally occurring polyphenols that accompany vitamin C in nature, and they play beneficial roles in terms of capillary integrity, the health and function of our blood vessels. So it's a natural cofactor that works well with vitamin C. But the most important part of the product is the vitamin C, and the vitamin C needs to be in its proper form, or you're not going to be experiencing its benefits. And even worse than that, it could potentially just cause diarrhea and stomach upset. And again, so many Americans are suffering from GERD and things like that, gastric esophageal reflux disease. The last thing you want to be consuming is ascorbic acid, which all that does is add more acid, which is adding insult to injury, and the last thing anybody should be taking.
Well, in addition to your vitamin C, before we move to the next item, I did want to mention to everyone, Andrew, that you also have available the Vitamin C500